So hello, hi friends. We are going to discuss the newses of this to date. Okay, and I think you all are fine. Okay, so there are some very important news in the newspapers. Okay, so among these important news, we are going to discuss some of very significant one and how they are important for our exam perspective. We are going to discuss in that particular line. Okay, and what are the associated things along with this news, which is very much significant for our examination. ठीक है, আমি এটা পঢ়িব যাম. So first very important news, which is that there are 10 Naxalists so dead in Chhattisgarh, Garyaban district. That means 10 Naxalists is killed by the security forces in the Chhattisgarh. Okay. So now what is Naxalist? This is the very basic news. The most important thing from this news we have to learn and which is very significant for our exam is that what is Naxalist? How this Naxalism is created in India, how it is generated, how it is originated in India. What are the basic objective of this Naxalism movement? Where it has started. Okay, and what are the main procedure of its propagation. Okay, so the Naxalism means this is a movement, is a rebellion of those who are oppressed, those who are underprivileged, those who are deprived. Okay, those section of the society who are oppressed, who are underprivileged, who are deprived from the very equality in the society. Okay, whether it is in terms of economic assets, land asset, land ownership, এইবিলাকৰ পৰা যেতিয়া তেওঁলোকে ইকুৱেলিটি পোৱা নাছিলে তেতিয়া এই যিখিনি deprived man আছিলে, deprived population আছিলে of the society, they started a rebellion against the state, against the elite. ঠিক আছে? But the main point is that their rebellion are violent in nature. That means they are not they are not the believer of non-violence. They are the believer of arms and ammunition. They have, they said that to bring revolution, you must have to use pistol. ঠিক আছে? You must to have use gun. ঠিক আছে? তো তেওঁলোকে এনেকা revolution আনিছিলে. তো revolution to first start হৈছিলে 1967ত. 1967ত a village called Naxalbari. A village called Naxalbari in Darjeeling area of the West Bengal, the present West Bengal, this movement was first started. And the main leadership, gave at that time are Saru Mozumdar, okay, Kanu Sainal, and Jungle Santhal. So these are the three, men, those are three leaders who first started these types of, movement against the landowner. Against the landowner, যেটো আমাৰ বহুত সহজ ভাষাত আমি ইন এ ভেৰি লেমেন এটা মহাজন বুলি কওঁ. ঠিক আছে? তো তেওঁলোকে against those people who does not have land or the oppressed people or the tenants who many times exploited by these landowners, তেওঁলোকৰ against এটা movement start হৈছিলে ক'ত? In the Naxalbari of Darjeeling area of today's West Bengal. ঠিক আছে? তো in course of time, these Naxalism movement, have been developed in a very, very significant issue, significant crisis for the Indian state. তো চলিলগা পিছৰ সময়ৰ পিছত এই যিটো নক্সালবাৰী মুভমেণ্ট ষ্টাৰ্ট হৈছিলে এই মুভমেণ্টটো আমাৰ ইণ্ডিয়ান ষ্টেটৰ কাৰণে এটা মূৰৰ কামৰণি হৈ গ'ল বিকজ those oppressed people who are highly exploited by this elite group or landowner group or many times by the state তেওঁলোকে এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ ৰিভল্ট বিলাক কৰিব আৰম্ভ কৰি ল'লে ঠিক আছে and in the time of very last decade of 20th century and the first decade of 21st century almost 40 to 45% of India's territory is affected by this Naxalism movement. Okay, so as this movement, as we are earlier discussed, is a violative in nature. It created a very huge law and order situation in the country. Okay, terrorist activities is very frequently started to happen. Okay, they started to attack the states, attack the security personnel, CRPF or such types of things. They attack কৰিব start কৰিলে আৰু এনেকা হৈ গ'ল যে at certain point of time, a very huge area, all of man describe korisu kenega hoy. Ekhon jodi ami India boli dhoro, roughly mo dhoro koisu, okay? So if it is India, okay. So almost the entire started from the Bihar to up to Andhra Pradesh. Is to area area to affected by this. This area is affected by Naxalism. These are highly affected by Naxalism. Okay. And there is an area in roughly in these positions called Dandak Aranya. Dandak Aranya. Dandak Aranya. Okay. Which is a region which is, very much dominated by the dense forest. Okay, a area to the center. Why this Dandak Aranya became the center of Naxalism movement? Because this area is in the triangle of 3 states. Like, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh. And as this area is in triangle, the governance in many times are, many times there are lack of governance in this area. Okay. So, ekhini eta develop hoy gol aru ei gute area to koisile red corridor boli. This area which is, affected starting from the Bihar up to Andhra Pradesh or Telangana, this complete area is called red corridor of India. That means the whole area is dominated by Naxalism movement. ঠিক আছে? As per the statistics of Ministry of Home Affairs in 2014, almost 126 districts of 12 states, 126 districts of 12 states is affected by this, Naxalism movement. Okay. And their attack, their violative, exercise are very much, destructive. CRPF ambush kore. Very much destructive, and they very much, believe over the guerrilla warfare. So guerrilla warfare but teloke bahut besi believe korisile. Or as they are mainly the tribal people who know that the person who do this movement are mostly the tribal people who are many times exploited in the hands of state, exploited in the hands of industrialists, exploited in the hands of the landowner. Okay. So they know their regions very well and they operated in the very dense of the forest area. Okay. So to counter them, a very prepared, a very well-trained security force is needed. Okay. To counter both well-trained, well known about the terrains of this area. This is very much important. Okay. And eneka develop Naxalbari movement to counter them is essential for the state. Otherwise, it completely overthrown their potentiality. There may be, they may have, gone up to that level. That they completely, in one day, they were maybe, completely overthrown the government. There are possibilities. So, the government try to, handle this situation with very strictness. Okay, with very strong hand. ঠিক আছে? তার কারণে government কেইটামান step ললে. Suppose, there to my example kita likhibo para. So there are some special operation. There are some special operation carried by the state against the Naxalbari movement. Okay, against this Naxalism. Against this Maoism. The movement mainly follow the Maoist philosophy. Okay. So the main operation kita hoise ki, eta hoise Operation Stabilises. One of the operations which is, carried out in 1971 is called Operation Stabilises. And the other operation is like Operation Green Hand. Operation Green Hand, which was carried out in 2009. Okay. And to do such types of operation, special types of, security forces, which is very well trained about the ground reality, about the terrain, about the, different ways and, procedure taken by this Naxalbari rebellion. How to, counter these types of guerrilla warfare that is mainly adopted by these, volunteers or soldiers of the Naxalbari movement or the Naxal movement, ঠিক আছে, এই গোটেইখিনি ভালকে ট্ৰেইন হোৱা এটা ফ'ৰ্চ বনাই ল'লে, and one such force is called Cobra Commander. Cobra Commander তেনেকুৱা এটা ফ'ৰ্চ হ'ল, ঠিক আছে। And similarly, some state also get it. এইবিলাকতো ষ্টেপ হৈছিলে তোমাৰ চেন্ট্ৰেল গভৰ্ণমেণ্টৰ। Whatever we have discussed till now, these are the steps taken by the union government, okay? And also some states which are badly affected by this rebellion take some steps, like the steps taken by the Andhra Pradesh state. Andhra Pradesh লোৱা এটা তোমাৰ ষ্টেপ হৈছিলে কি? They develop a special battalion of their police force, which is called Greyhound, which is totally dedicated to do some strict action against this commander of the Naxalism movement, okay? Naxalism movement যিবিলাক commander আছিলে তেওঁলোকৰ against strict action ল'বলৈ বা any operation against the group of Naxalism বনাব কৰিব কাৰণে এই গোটেই ফ'ৰ্চটো বনোৱা হৈছে, যাৰ নাম আছিলে Greyhounds, ঠিক আছে। আৰু এইটো কৈছিলে কোনে? অন্ধ্ৰ প্ৰদেশ ষ্টেটে কৰিছিলে, ঠিক আছে। এতিয়া এইখিনি হ'ল চিকিউৰিটি মেজাৰ, but security measure is not enough to eradicate this Naxalbari revolution or rebellion or the mindset of the people who do such types of rebellion completely to the society, from the society. So to eradicate these types of mindset, these types of rebellion completely from the society, you have also do some types of developmental activities. Now you have to find the root cause why these people are engaged such types of violating activities, why they are put their life on risk, ঠিক আছে। তো তাৰ যেতিয়া root cause to চোৱা হ'ল, when the state started researching finding the main root cause, the main root cause is that the people who taken part in these movement are those who are very highly oppressed, exploited, and very much there's a grave of anger in them against the state. So how you resolve these types of problem? You have to do some types of developmental activities through which the development of the country can be reached to their life. You must provide employment to them. You must give them better services like education, healthcare to them, and in very efficient way. Okay, so to eradicate this problem completely from the society, the government started such types of developing work, such as creating infrastructure like roads, railways, okay, airports, air routes, ঠিক আছে, এইবিলাক electricity provisions, তো এনেকা টাইপৰ যিবিলাক infrastructure which is very necessity for a basic lifestyle or for a basic living, এইবিলাক start কৰিলে গভৰ্ণমেণ্টে দিব কাৰণে, ঠিক আছে, number 1. Number 2, government started to establish schools, PHCs, primary health service center, secondary health service center, hospitals in the region which is mostly affected, okay? So to propagate government developmental services to them so that they are not encouraged to take part. They are not encouraged to take part in such types of violative, very exploitative, rebellion, which completely resulted, in one time this completely resulted the entire state of the country, ঠিক আছে। At the same time, they also provide some skills to establishing ITI in the remote areas. ITI জানা ন? That means Industrial Training Institute, okay? So the remote area বিলাকত ITI establish কৰিব হ'লে so that the skill is provided to the last people. That means the basic idea of this development is to providing or to giving the developmental service to the last man of the society, ঠিক আছে। তো তেনেকা টাইপৰ কিছুমান কাম কৰিব ল'লে। At the same time, this NDA government also started their scheme called Aspirational District Program, okay, through which they try to uplift the least developed 100 districts of the country, and those least developed 100 districts are mostly affected by the Naxalism. So the main way to eradicate the complete seed of this Naxalism movement from the society is by the development, is by the way, making the way through which the developing program of the state can reach to the last people, can reach to the last mile, ঠিক আছে, so that they will not shifted towards these types of movement, towards these types of violative movement, or the leaders of this Naxalbari movement cannot influence them to take part in such types of rebellious movement. So this is very much about Naxalism movement. Yapura ami loboliga take ki first of all the history of the Naxalbari movement. Number 2, to counter any social problem, how you counter? There are 2 ways. These types of insurgency, these types of terrorist movement, or these types of extremism in the society. How you counter? There are 2 ways. One is called soft way, another one is called hard way. In the hard ways, you have to strengthen your security forces. You have to keep them. You have to update them with the modern trainings, modern ways of fighting. Okay, such type of update কৰিব লাগিব and start operation or try to delete such types of thing from the society or from the society. ঠিক আছে. And at the same time, you have also started some soft ways. You have also started some soft programs like development activities, like integration of people with the broader societies. ঠিক আছে? তো তেনেকুৱা টাইপৰ কামবিলাক কৰিব লাগিব, like to provide governance in their hand so that they can feel that they are the administrator of their own, like through by the way called local governance. ঠিক আছে, তো লোকেল গভৰ্নেন্স দিয়াৰ লগে লগে তেওঁলোকে যেতিয়া পঞ্চায়তত তেওঁলোকে নিজে ইলেক্ট হৈ আহিব, তেওঁলোকে নিজে পলিচি বনাব, দেন দেয়াৰ মাইণ্ডছেট লাইক উই আৰ দ্য এডমিনিষ্ট্ৰেটৰ অফ আৱাৰ ওন, উই আৰ দ্য পলিচি মেকাৰ অফ ফৰ আৱাৰ ওন, তেতিয়া তেওঁলোকৰ এটা বিলংগিংনেছ টু দ্য ছ'চাইটি এটা ক্ৰিয়েট হ'ব। তো কাউণ্টাৰ কৰিব পাৰিম তেতিয়া আমি এনেকুৱা বস্তুবিলাক। ঠিক আছে, আমাৰ মেইন টেক হৈছে ফ্ৰম দিছ নিউজ এইটো। নেক্সট আমাৰ ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট নিউজ হৈছে that the India government announced $680 million package to Mauritius. ঠিক আছে, তো India announced $680 million package to Mauritius. Now we all know Mauritius in the Indian Ocean. Okay, so its position, its strategic location of the Mauritius is very important to provide or keeping a status quo or maintaining the security of the Indian Ocean region. Okay, so maintaining security in the Indian Ocean region is very much important for for a swift movement of trade and navigation and also communication with one country with another country. Mainly mainly keeping trade open, mainly keeping trade as a swift function, navigation to বহুত important হৈ যায়। ঠিক আছে, at the same time so that the supply chain swiftly act across the globe. ঠিক আছে, therefore so for all this work, for all these objectives, keeping the Indian Ocean regions security intake is very important, and the role played by countries like Mauritius, Maldives, Seychelles for this perspective is very significant. Okay, and now as per the news or development, India announces $680 million, this is million package to Mauritius to do development in there. Okay, and this package is mainly centered around 10 projects which included their development or creation of ports, railways, roadways. Okay, that means their infrastructural development. Okay, so এইবিলাক ওপৰতে মানে তোমাৰ ডিপেন্ড কৰি পেলাই ইণ্ডিয়াই টোটেল 10টা তেনেকুৱা টাইপৰ সাৰ্চ প্ৰজেক্ট কৰিবৰ কাৰণে এই গোটেই পেকেজটো দিছে। And as per Moody said in announcing this package, Moody says that Mauritius is not an other country to India. Mauritius is a family to India. Okay, Mauritius is a family to India. Okay, and according to the Modi, this is not an assistance provided by India to Mauritius. It is an investment by India over Mauritius. The word kita monot rakhiba. First kuse ki Mauritius is like a family member to India, and these types of and this package is not an assistance from India to Mauritius. It is an investment by India in Mauritius. That means India try to solidify its stakes over Indian Ocean from Mauritius. বুজি পাইছে নে ইণ্ডিয়াই solidify কৰিব বিচাৰি আছে because in the recent time we all know one of the important ally or important country, important nation of the Indian Ocean regions, Maldives, take some repercussions, take some negative sides, negative what I say the main word will be some opposite stance after the presidential elections, which is not favorable for India. ঠিক আছে? So therefore we have to diversify our partner over Indian Ocean. তাৰ কাৰণে এনেকুৱা কথা কিছুমান কৈ আছে, ঠিক? মানে এনেকুৱা এটা ষ্টেট বনাব বিচাৰি আছে ইণ্ডিয়া। পিএম মোদী সেইকাৰণে কৈছে যে আমাৰ মৰিচাছ আমাৰ এটা ফেমিলি পৰিয়ালৰ নিচিনা, ঠিক আছে? So this is very important for international relationship. Why it is important? To form any international relation in the international arena. To create an relation in the international arena, the cultural bonding, the emotional bonding is very important. The soft power behind these relations, creation is one of the, act as an adhesive force. The soft power work as an adhesive force in this relation. They strengthen the bonding. Okay, and therefore the cultural ties is very important. And in the announcement, Modi also signal out that that 70% people who live in the Mauritius are Indian origin. That means India have a historical ties with the Mauritius. Isn't it? In a history, the culture develop from history to culture, how you integrate ourselves with the Mauritius, so that in the future when we needed Mauritius will help us. ঠিক আছে? তো এইখিনি development আছিলে. Also, in the very recent time when PM Modi visit Mauritius, the Mauritius awarded PM Modi with their highest civilian award, which is Grand Commander of the Order of the Star and Key of the Indian Ocean. That means the highest civilian award of the Mauritius, which is known as Grand Commander of the Order, Grand Commander of the Order of the Star and Key to the Indian Ocean. This is the name of the award, okay, highest civilian award of the Mauritius, which is very recently given to PM Modi. That means all this development signifies what? All this development signifies the leadership, quality, the leadership, the strength of the India's leadership, at least in the global south. Okay, in the global south, how India, placed herself as the leader. তো এই গোটেইবিলাকে সেইটোকে দেখাই আছে, ঠিক আছে? Then the next news is that it is from our Assam that in the very recent time, very huge amount of the tea, that means saffron, tea has been found that they are not meet the compliance of a FSI. FSI যিকেইটা কমপ্লেইন্স দিছিলে সেই কমপ্লেইন্স কেইটা আমাৰ maximum, or that means a very huge amount of the tea which is going through the auction center, Guwahati auction center and Siliguri auction center, is not meet the compliance of the FSI. That means the quality of the tea produced in Assam and West Bengal, which is going through the auction center of Guwahati and the Siliguri, is very low. Why it is very low? Because it is unable to meet the what? The compliance that is set by the FSI. And when the quality of these teas are become poor, then the buyers show some conservation in buying such types of low quality teas. ঠিক আছে? তো বায়াৰ বিলাকে অলপমান কনজাৰভেটিভনেছ দেখায় যেতিয়া তেওঁলোকক কিনিব কোৱা হয় এই চাহপাতবিলাক. And when the buyers are not willing to buy such types of tea produced in Assam, that means what? The price of the Assam tea is going to decrease. The demand of the Assam tea going to decrease in the market. And when the demand of the Assam tea going to decrease in the market, the income of the Assam tea farmer is also going to deplete. That means the whole economy of Assam is going to be affected by this not meeting this compliance of the FSI. And okay, at the same time, the space provided by this, by this procedure, that means the vacuum created by this procedure is filled by whom? Filled by the sheep or the, quality tea coming from the South India, and also the sheep imported tea. ঠিক আছে, কামিং ফ্ৰম ভিয়েটনাম, কেনিয়া, নাম্বিয়া, এই এৰিয়াটোৰ পৰা অহা যিবিলাক তোমাৰ ইম্পৰ্টেড টি সি বা চাউথ ইণ্ডিয়াৰ পৰা অহা যিবিলাক টি, সেইবিলাকে এই যিটো ভেকুৱাম ক্ৰিয়েট কৰিলে আছাম আৰু ৱেষ্ট বেংগলৰ টি কমপ্লায়েন্স মিট নকৰাটোৱে তাক পুৰাব ষ্টাৰ্ট কৰিলে। এণ্ড ইফ ইট ইজ হেপেন ফৰ এ লং টাইম, ইট উইল বি ভেৰি ডেট্ৰিমেণ্টেড ফৰ দ্য আছাম টি ইণ্ডাষ্ট্ৰি। অ'কে, নাও উই হেভ টু আণ্ডাৰষ্টেণ্ড হোৱাই দিছ টাইপছ অফ প্ৰব্লেম started. The main problem started in Assam, particularly in Assam case, is that most of the Assam tea produced are by the small tea growers. Most of the Assam tea are produced are by the small tea growers, and they are not too rich to meet these compliances. That means the compliance that is put by the FSI, if you going to meet such types of compliance, you have to do some modification. And this modification increases the cost. And as the most of the farmer are not too rich, okay, as they are not rich, they are unable to meet such types of expenditures, first of all. Second, maximum of the small tea growers are not seller of the final production of the tea. Okay, whether it is black tea or orthodox tea or green tea, whatever the production happen, it is not sold by these small tea growers. It is mainly sold by some other person who have collect the green leaves from these small tea growers and produce by processing these green leaves. Okay, as they are not the final seller, as the small tea growers are not final seller, they are mostly unconcerned what is happening in the tea auction center. Okay, what are the complaints put by the FSI. ঠিক আছে, তেওঁলোক আনএৱাৰ হৈ থাকে। ঠিক আছে, at the same time this broad leaves যিবিলাক ইণ্ডাষ্ট্ৰি আছে, that means যিবিলাক এনেকা small tea বিলাক আহি পেলাই তোমাৰ ইয়াতে প্ৰচেছ কৰে। ঠিক আছে, প্ৰচেছ কৰি এটা ইণ্ডাষ্ট্ৰি আছে য'ত তাৰ নিজৰ একো এষ্টেট নাই। Those industry which does not have its own estate, but they collect green leaves from the small teas. ঠিক আছে, broad leaf factories বুলি কয়, BLF। ঠিক আছে, তো তেওঁলোকে কি কৰে, যিহেতু they are depended on many farmers, so quality maintain কৰাটো তেওঁলোকৰ কাৰণে difficult হৈ যায়। So these are the prime reason, but whatever the reason, it is important to maintain the quality so the demand of the Assam teas remains steady in the global market. Okay, but because if there is any depletion happen in the demand of the Assam tea in the global market, it directly affect the Assam farmer and the Assam economy. ঠিক আছে, and for the future it is not good. Okay, কাৰণ কোনোবা বেলেগে লৈ ল'ব জেগাটো, আমাৰ যিটো জেগা আছিলে। ঠিক আছে, এইখিনিলৈকে ঠিকে আছে। So there is another news in our newspaper which is very much related with the Act East policy. The next news is very much related with Act East policy. Now, what is Act East policy? The very genesis of this Act East policy is the Look East policy, started in 1992. By that times, Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao. Now, what are the, significant events happen to start such types of, Look as or Act East policy, or policy which is completely dedicated to the eastern part of the country or northeastern part of the country and the east of Asia, ঠিক আছে, or Southeast Asia. তো Act East policy, ইয়াৰ জেনেচিছটো কি আছিলে? ইয়াৰ প্ৰথম ষ্টাৰ্ট হৈছিলে in 1992, as a Look East policy হিচাপে ষ্টাৰ্ট হৈছিলে। ঠিক আছে, so the very objective of Look East policy to make economic integration of India with the Southeast Asia. ঠিক আছে, ইয়াৰ এটাই অবজেক্টিভ আছিলে to make economic integration. That means Southeast Asia লগত এতিয়া আমি বেপাৰ বঢ়াব লাগে. We have to increase the trade with the Southeast Asia. Why? Because with the Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia. কিহৰ কাৰণে লাগে চোৱা, তোমালোকে যদি অলপমান চোৱা দেখা পাবা, in 1991, the USSR is disintegrated. USSR dissolution হৈ গৈছিলে, ঠিক আছে? So at that time, USSR is one of the prime trade partner of India. ঠিক আছে? Prime and the strategic and very, trustful trade partner of the India at that time. Now, when the USSR is completely, disintegrated or the USSR ভাগি যোৱাৰ লগে লগে কি হ'ল, the trade with USSR is now decreases. To fill this gap, you have to find some another trade partner. So India কি কৰিলে trade partner বিচাৰিব ল'লে আৰু ইণ্ডিয়াই USA আৰু USA allies-ৰ লগত trade relationship establish কৰিব চেষ্টা কৰিলে. India tried to establish trade relationship with USA and USA allies, okay, to fill the gap that is produced due to the, disintegration of the USSR in 1991. And for this very perspective, the PV Narasimha Rao government in that time started this look east policy. ঠিক আছে? The prime objective or only objective of is economic integration. ঠিক আছে? Now this, look east policy after coming to power, Narendra Modi uplifted it or, updated it with another name called Act East policy. Now the objective of Act East policy is not only the economic integration with the Southeast Asia. Yeta saba etai asile economic integration aru kar logot Southeast Asian country logot. Asian countries bilakor logot. ঠিক আছে? That means ASEAN jitu tumar association ase tat jibilak country ase mainly. ঠিক আছে? ASEAN logot. তো এতিয়া যেতিয়া Act East policy আনিলে this Narendra Modi government, তেওঁলোকে এতিয়া কি কৰিলে, কেৱল মাত্ৰ ইকোনমিক ইন্টিগ্ৰেশ্যন নহয়, they want to build cultural integration, security integration, and economic integration. These are the three objectives of this Act East policy. Okay, তিনটা main objective asile, and the scope is increases from Southeast Asian countries to East Asian countries like Japan. Okay, so এতিয়া তেওঁলোকক আগতে যেটো Southeast Asian countries আছিলে সেইটো এটা বহাই পেলাই আৰু তুমি এনালাইজ কৰি পেলাই East Asian countries বিলাকটো এই পলিসিৰ আন্ডাৰত সোমাই ললে, ঠিক আছে? And South Asian countries like countries like Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh এইবিলাকো সোমাই ললে, and Southeast Asian countries থাকিয়ে গল, ঠিক আছে? So this is very much Act East policy, and it is very important for the Northeast India because the way to Southeast Asia is going through Northeast India. Okay, so it is very important, and there are some very important projects running out at the present time to build such types of infrastructure integrations like Kaladan multimodal project, okay, Golden Trilateral project, like our Jugikupa logistic project. So these are the very important projects which is running at the present time. Okay. Next very important news, that world's first AI minister, Daila, takes charge in Albania. To Albania, for the very first time in the world, a minister appointed kora hoise, which is not a human being. It is a AI formed, character. Jar naam hoise Daila. Okay, that means in Albania, the meaning of the Daila is sun. Okay. And it is entrusted with a, power as a minister of public procurement. That means the main, objective of introducing these types of AI, character in the state or in the governments to reduce the corruption in the government activities. So Albania da tumar tada status ase that it is a very corrupted country among all the European countries. Albania is situated in the eastern part of, Europe. in a very adjacent to the Greece or ekhini yat asile Adriatic Ocean ekhini jaga Adriatic Sea ekhini jaga asile thik ase Mediterranean Sea just east coast of Mediterranean sorry north coast of Mediterranean Sea thik ase to tat jehetu bahut beshi corruption hoy asile ei corruption to naika koribo karone to delete such types of corruption human being nohoy eta computer generated or AI generated character anile june 100% ji tender activity hobo যি বিড হব গভৰ্ণমেণ্টৰ এক্টিভিটিৰ কাৰণে গুটে বস্তু চাব ঠিক আছে দাইলা বুলি যিটো নতুনকৈ মিনিষ্ট্ৰী হেৰি কৰিলে AI জেনেৰেটেড গুটে বস্তু ডাইৰেক্ট কৰিব গুটে বস্তু চলাব ঠিক আছে so the reason is what to introduce such AI generated or AI minister is to reduce corruption in governance okay and as per the Transparency International the rank of Albania in corruption index is 80 out of 180 countries 180 countries which is very bad for a country from Europe ঠিক আছে ইউৰোপৰ কান্ট্ৰি বিলাকৰ actually recognition কেনেকা থাকে যে they are corruption free country they are highly qualified country তাতে তোমাৰ governance বহুত ভাল হয় ঠিক আছে তো এইবিলাক বস্তু actually 80 out of 180 countries is very bad for European countries ঠিক আছে তো এই গুটে বিলাক বস্তু নাইকিয়া কৰিব কাৰণে এই গুটে বস্তুটো আনিছে and the rank of India over this corruption index is 96 ঠিক আছে so our country is also a very corrupted country next very important news which is very important regarding our polity and governance okay and our policy also that means a survey done by the Association for Democratic Reforms and National Education was find that 21% of our sitting MLAs, MPs and MLC are from political dynasty, are from some political dynasty. That means 21% of our representatives, that means whether they are MPs, MLAs or MLC, have some dynastic legacy. ঠিক আছে তো it is not good for a country where democracy is prevailed okay so eta democratic country karone etu eta bahut bhal bostu nohoy because why because it create nepotism in the governance it create favoritism in the governance and it give less chance for the common people to uplift to that part to their status the common people tat jabo karone eta space to komai die the dynastic politics hoy jay or dynastic politics ba nepotism folot ki hobo pare in a very recent time we saw in the Nepal হয় না নেপাল আমি দেখা পালো যে এনেকা corruption এনেকা nepotism বা এনেকা dynastic কাৰণে কি হ'ব পাৰে ঠিক আছে so as per the report the first rank that means the state which has the highest highest practice of such types of dynastic politics is Andhra Pradesh okay here in Andhra Pradesh 34% of the representatives that means MP MLA and MLC but whatever the representatives are belonging from some dynasty which have some political lineage and this Andhra Pradesh is followed by Maharashtra where it is 32% in Andhra Pradesh it is 34% and in Maharashtra it is 32% okay in percentage wise these two larger states have some these types of problem and from the absolute terms the UP has the highest men or highest representatives that means 141 representatives whether it is MP MLA or MLC have some dynastic legacy ঠিক আছে তো that but a very good thing for us is that Assam is very much free from such types of practices only 9% of our representatives have some dynastic legacy ঠিক আছে so this is very important and this report or survey shows that the state from the southern India and northern India are affected mostly by such types of practices dynastic practices ঠিক আছে and one another news from the environmental perspective and the science and technology is that Delhi government plans to artificially create rain okay in the mid of October so by mid of October Delhi government planned to create some artificial rain to cope up for the pollution we all know the level of pollution that is happen in Delhi. The one of the prime reason of this pollution is staple burning in their neighboring state. ঠিক আছে, in Haryana, Punjab, যেতিয়া তাত staple বিলাক burning কৰে after harvesting or due to the wind direction or the flow of the wind. Okay, all the smoke come to the Delhi region, and it is mixed with the it is mixed with the we can say the what is the term is fog. When the smoke, mixed with the fog, okay, in the ground level tropospheric is there, then what happens? It creates smoke. It creates what? Smoke, which is very much, bad for the transportation, for the navigation, and also for our respiration activities. ঠিক আছে, respiratory activities কাৰণে it বহুত বেছি দিগদাৰ হৈ যায়, and it deteriorate our health. It completely hold our navigation system, not navigation but our aviation systems, not navigation, this aviation. Okay, navigation নহয় here, because aviation the environment or the atmosphere become too much darky. ঠিক আছে, তো এই প্ৰবলেম বিলাক নাইকিয়া কৰিবৰ কাৰণে, সলভ কৰিবৰ কাৰণে দিল্লী গভৰ্ণমেণ্টে কি কৈছে যে we are going to do or we are going to create artificial rain by cloud seeding or through cloud seeding. Now what is cloud seeding? Cloud seeding is a process through which some chemicals like silver iodide, some salt, এইবিলাক আমি তাত দি পেলাই in the very of the upper level of the troposphere আমি এইবিলাক যেতিয়া তাত এৰি দিওঁ, so it become a nuclei around which the water droplets or around which the moisture is started to gathering. ঠিক আছে, তো cloud seeding is a process through which you can create artificial rain by spreading such types of chemical like iodide, okay, silver iodide, salt, এইবিলাক যেতিয়া আমি তাত দি দিওঁ, which become a nuclei, যাৰ around যিবিলাক moisture আছিলে, moisture বিলাক গোট খাব start হৈ যায়, and when this moisture gather, their weight increases and they fall as a rain. ঠিক আছে, that means cloud seeding থ্ৰুৱেদি আমি artificially কিছুমান chemical spread কৰি পেলাই in the upper troposphere, in our cloud, we can create rainfall. ঠিক আছে, and such example of creating rainfalls by cloud seeding is was experienced by China in times of Beijing Olympic. Was did by the China in the time of Beijing Olympic. ঠিক আছে, and also in the very recent history you can search the practice very much adopted by the Indonesia. When there is a volcano happen and the atmosphere is completely covered by some ash, to remove this ash they spray such types of chemicals in the atmosphere which create artificial rains to remove this ashes from our atmosphere. So it is a very process through which we can regulate our environment, through which we can regulate our pollution, through which we can regulate our atmosphere. ঠিক আছে, so it is very important. Thank you very much, and I think it is helpful for you, and if you have some feedback, please provide it, because your feedback is always welcome. Okay, and only through your feedback, your it's give me some insight through which I can make it more beautiful, the presentations be more beautiful. Okay, so please give your feedbacks. Okay, thank you very much.